family. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Maybe it's got the wrong. Let me change my camera here up. That's why I was looking so fuzzy. Hang. All right, sorry about that. It's early. I'm trying to get it together. All right, let me fix the sound and then we'll be able to start. Turn this music down. All right, I'm sorry about that. I was had the wrong camera on. It's early. It's 6:23 in the morning here with me. Woke up. I was inspired to share something with whoever gets on, whether it's one or no one. You just get to see it later. You know, you don't know. Lately, there's been an attack. There's been negative commentary about different public figures, famed actors, rappers, whatever, and we spend a lot of time with our mind wrapped around who's right, who's wrong, instead of spending time about our own personal situations. We're thinking about whether Kyrie was wrong. We're thinking about whether Kanye is wrong. And don't get me wrong, I've had these conversations with people myself. But I don't keep those long conversations. But I'm starting to say, what's the purpose of even me talking about it? What for? Because at the end of the day, I don't have the money they have. I can't spend it. And these people have painted themselves into a box. Why? Because they took a position. They took a position on some idea of how mistreatment. You do realize the more you talk about your mistreatment, you will get mistreated. Yeah, things have happened in the past to people that look like us. But we should be focused on ourselves on an individual level. Like things like, how are you waking up and starting your day? Are you waking up and starting your day, picking up your phone and looking at the news? Seeing what's going on out there? Checking things and see how the current events are playing out there? Or are you waking up, checking you? My suggestion is, Wake up thinking about yourself and how you're going to present yourself today. Are you going to present yourself in a godly, divine way? Are you going to wake up thinking about positive things, heavenly things, about your prosperity, your wealth, your good health, and the love, most of all, the love you have within inside of you for yourself? I always say that you must love yourself before you can love anything or anyone. You must love yourself. You can't even love your children, mothers, if you don't love yourself. Yeah, I know you had the children and a mother's love. They say all of that things. But as you can see, the manifestation of the mother's love today, because a lot of the mothers haven't learned to love themselves, and now they're having children and replicating the lack of love inside of them into their children, into their offspring. And when I say the lack of love, I mean the lack of love for themselves. I'm not saying this to offend or hurt anyone, but it's a fundamental truth. It's a universal truth. This truth is on the highest level. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love anything else. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love anything else properly. And that lack of love for yourself will manifest within you, around you, and into your children, into your household. So you must, instead of waking up in the morning, looking at the phone and seeing what's going on or whatever you choose to do on your phone, if you're going to pick up the phone, if you can't help it, I know it's become an addiction for someone, and I say this, if you can't help it, how about you make it a habit picking up and playing something positive that's going to feed your positive self-image about yourself? How about picking up and doing that? Do that for the next 7 days. After 7 days, you can make it become a habit. If you could do it 7 days, you could do it 8 days. If you could do it 8 days, you could do it 15 days. You do it 15 days, you could do it 30 days. If you could do it 30 days, you could do it 60 days. 60 days turns into 90 days. Before you know it, you can go 6 months in a whole year. And I tell you, if you do that every morning, play something positive for yourself. Refrain from anything that is going to feed your mind negative thoughts. And that means the news. That means this filthy rap music they got nowadays. And any other music that's not talking about anything that makes you positive or helps you see the true divine light within you. You know, I listen to a lot of different genres of music, and I listen to some of the popular music, and unfortunately, and from our community standpoint, people of color, whatever you want to call yourself, Black, African American, Native American, American National, whatever you want to call yourself, the place where I find most of the positive music is in music of people that don't have my same skin color. Groups like Imagine Dragon. You ever listen to the words of their songs? And some of the contemporary, I guess they call it gospel or Christian music, some of the pale skin, what we call Caucasian people, that's how, they want to identify themselves in their music. And in some of our gospel music, we have it, but a lot of ours is riddled with statements like, I'm dragging, I'm down, and I need the Lord to pick me up. And I don't want to start off like that, feeling sorry for myself. I want to be uplifted. And if you pay attention to the words that you're feeding your mind, the images, the words, in the readings, how you're feeding your mind on a daily basis, you already have to deal with a lot, because when you go to work and you're around a bunch of people that's thinking negative and wanting to talk about these current events. Man, that this and that guy, this and Trump and Biden and the political, the Republican, the Democratic and sociocratic, the idiocratic. Everybody's gossiping about something or someone. Everyone. That is the trend. That's the trend on YouTube. I said this before. I did a consultation with a big YouTuber, and he was telling me people don't like to be preached to. I know. You didn't tell me something I don't know. And if you want your views to go up, you got to do this. You got to connect to the social issues of today and make it relevant. And then people will come in and flock in, and you'll get millions of subscribers. And his advice is absolutely spot on. And for a while, I sat there and pondered that, and I thought about that. And then I realized that was a trap for me. Because if I went into that type of content, how would I feel in my spirit? See, I love myself so much. I love the feeling I get when I deliver messages like this. I love the downloads that I get for sharing spiritual topics. That's what gets me going. See, that's all I'm trying to do, is get me going on the individual level. And on the individual level, I try to share these messages with you, so hopefully you can connect and identify and emulate what I'm talking about. See, if you listen to me very carefully, and if you know Reverend Ike and listen to him, what I'm saying is exactly what he has said. See, I'm speaking the words of Reverend Ike from many years ago when he had his church. And I don't mind sounding like him or copying him or emulating him, because he was very prosperous, very influential. A lot of your people who are famous motivational speakers came through him. Yeah. I heard him on one of his recordings that I got lately, and he said, yeah, Mr. Robbins is talking about this, and he's, talking to things I'm talking. I'm like, wonder who he's talking about. You see, these people took his message. It's not that they stole it. They use it. Reverend Ike didn't mind. Because if more people are talking about these things, the more we need a lot of people. We need an army of people just talking about these things, because there is so many. The scale is so lopsided on the other side about people talking about the wrong stuff or the things that do not help you. So this is what we need. But yeah, I get millions of followers. And I was like, and I thought about it, and I almost tipped in that way. Almost. And then I started to sit there and try to devise a plan on how I was going to do it. And it was very complicated for me to get there. I couldn't find my way through. And then I asked myself, why is this so hard? And then I realized the God in me said, that's not where you're supposed to go. It's easy for you to wake up out of the bed, turn on the camera, get your computer on. Maybe I come into some technical glitches or something, but I'll get it together and just talk. This is not a pre-written speech. This is me just coming from a spiritual mindset right now, coming from within, motivating and delivering the God within me. You see? So this is where I need to be. And that's the issue with most people today. They want people to follow them. I want followers. Well, what kind of followers are you getting? You want the brokenhearted, the broken-minded, the unconscious? That's the type of followers people are wanting. They want the people to, oh, look at black women, they're so bad, and they got this, they got dating issues. And I have those conversations too on occasion, but I got to catch myself. If I can't keep talking about black women, women, period, God, men, what is that doing for me? How is that profiting me? You know, that's the trend, to destroy the positive self-image of black women through under the guises we're trying to talk about it so we can fix it. No, how about talking about how you fix it is not talking about the problem or how bad it is. You talk about it by presenting yourself in a positive way on an individual level. You're never going to get on the platform and just talk about people and how bad they are and fix the problem. People have done that for years. Look at the news stations. Look at everything. They have done it for thousands upon thousands of years, and it never works. The only thing that works, which is one of the greatest commands, is have love for yourself and for your neighbor. And if you love yourself, number one, your spirit won't allow you to deliver negative self-talk about yourself or anyone else. Because if you look, let's talk about this. If you really look at the black woman, why they want to destroy her image so much? And I'm sorry, some of my Caucasian, people who identify white, if you don't appreciate what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it. The black woman is the greatest woman on the planet. There's none better than her. Only problem or the only issue right now with the sister, because all other stuff comes out of this one thing. Most of our sisters have lack of love for themselves. They lack a positive self-image about themselves. So how do we help in that situation? We deliver positive self-image to her. We keep pushing that narrative. How about we push that? How about we talk about how great the black woman is? There's nothing more beautiful than a dark brown woman. To me, that's just me. I have a dark brown woman or a brown woman. That's just my thing. You might like them lighter. You might like them a little darker. A nice shape brown woman. Come on. If we talk like that and they hear those things and we send that type of energy, because one thing about women, they absorb their surroundings, the energy of the field around them. They absorb it. They feel it. And unfortunately, some of them have not learned how to hone the skill of blocking out the negative and just receiving the positive. They take it all within their being. That's the answer. Brothers, send out a positive self-image about your woman constantly, consistently. But first, if you can't send a positive self-image, about your woman, send one about yourself. You show positivity and stay away from the negativity. But before I go, because I have things to do, my dog's downstairs ready to eat, and I want to read chapter 24 of this book, and then I'll let you guys get on with your morning. The treasure of God in you. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Proverbs 3:6. It says, in all your ways acknowledge him. In this passage, it referring to God, but I'm going to be more specific. Acknowledge the God in you. Acknowledge the divinity in you. In all your ways. And when I mean all your ways, I mean physical, financial, spiritually. I mean on all levels, consciously, on all levels of your life. Connect your commercial affairs to your divinity. The science of living principle. Every individual who is ever born into this world has one duty to perform, and that is to know himself, to discover his true self. It is wonderful to recognize the presence of God within you. It is wonderful to recognize the presence of God, unlimited good within each person. Every time I think about the idea that God is in me, it excites me. I don't know if it excites you, but one of the most exciting things in my life is to realize the presence of God within me. Oh, that lights my fire. That puts a tiger in my tank. That's the same thing with me. Once I recognized where my true power was, to gain knowledge of myself, the truth of me, that was the most powerful thing. Once I understood, and I'm still learning me, that transformed me. That transformed my life. That transformed my beliefs. And I began to see things on a different level. See, I see this whole Kanye and what's his name, and Kyrie thing differently. These brothers signed contracts. So you can't call yourself a victim now because you feel like you was exploited. Maybe they did. They exploited your ignorance. They knew you weren't going to read your contracts. You was going to sign off on it. But no one put a gun to your head for you to participate in anything that you're doing now. And in those contracts, they got all kind of sneaky clauses about if you do something we don't like, we could do this. So while we out here feeling sorry for these brothers, we have to think that if these people were in love with themselves and had knowledge of self, they would have had the foresight to not sign a contract that restricts their freedom of speech. I'm not saying anything's right or wrong. I don't have to go around calling the devil. Okay? I don't have to do that. Why? Because when I acknowledge the devil shows up. And that's what's happening. They identified with a label instead of identifying with the divinity and God with them on a consistent basis. You keep your money and be at peace. You will never be at peace if you go into war with these enemies you claim that are outside of you. All of the enemies that you have are within you. That's the ones you need to work on. Ridding yourself of all of the negative self-identity. Get excited about the presence of God in you. When I say you can't lose with the stuff I use, I'm talking about the presence of God in you, the power of God in you, the infinite capability of God in you, the unlimited love of God in you. How can you lose with God in you? That's why I call my church the Church of Infinite Abundance. And we're not talking about just money. We're talking about infinite abundance. I have infinite times that I can call myself divine. Just right there, you have abundance everywhere. And if you see abundance, your physical life will manifest abundance. I want you to reflect for a moment on the idea that God is within you, and I want you to get excited about that. I have seen people who, when they first learn that God is within, get so excited about it that they have what seem like miracles happen in their lives. That's because they're so connected to the God with them, it just starts flowing. Then self-doubt creeps in again. The old programming comes back. So you got to be careful when you get on this understanding, overstanding. You're going to have great things happen to you at first, and then it's going to start to, why? You got to realize, where is your conscious drifting off to? Who are you talking to? Did you go back to watching the old stuff? Listening to the old negative talk? Something wonderful happened. I was in Washington some time ago preaching at a fellowship meeting. Although it was raining hard outside, the place was jammed. So many people came to give their wonderful testimonies. One which I will never forget was from a man who had seen me on television for the first time on the Dinah Shore show. He said that the years he had been in and out of mental hospitals with a severe alcohol problem, he just couldn't get rid of. His wife had written to me and had asked me to pray for him. When he found out that his wife was writing to me, he asked her, "Who is this man you're writing to?" Then he saw me with Dinah Shore when I was talking about the presence of God within. He felt something warm come over him. And from that time, he lost his taste for the alcohol that he didn't think he could do without. He has been a different man ever since. I have seen people get free from drugs, liberated in so many ways by just recognizing the presence of God within. And that is true. Once you recognize your true power of who you are, you can get rid of an addiction overnight. You get tired of watching toxic things on your phone and television and listening. As soon as you recognize it, because once I recognized, I was like, wow. And I started hearing those conversations because I was so far in the higher consciousness, in the spiritual consciousness, that when I hear these things, it was, I could feel the negativity. And I didn't want that anymore. See, you got to say, if you're gravitating towards these things more, that means that there's more, you have less, let me say it like this, you have less of that divine feeling of being the God within you. So the only way you're going to do it is put something on and play it over and over. I listened to some of the Reverend Ike song recordings over and over and over again. Over and over and over, like a broken record. And when I don't do that, I start drifting. Okay? Even the book of Proverbs tells us, in all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your paths. Something infinitely marvelous happens when you recognize the presence of God in you. So get excited about the fact that God is in you. Get excited about the fact that the love of God is within. The mind of God is within you. Mind, refine, and develop your infinite treasures. Get excited about the fact that God has placed infinite treasures within your being. On a purely intellectual level, you couldn't possibly know all the infinite treasures which God Almighty has placed within your being. But like the gold and the diamonds and the minerals in earth, you must lay hold of these treasures that are within you and mine them and refine them and develop them. Get excited about the fact that God is in you. I never forget a visit I made to the United Nations. There was a huge map on the wall telling about the poorest countries in the world. A statement said that in the poorest countries in the world, where the economy is at the lowest and the standard of living is sub-poverty, it was the richest deposit of minerals in the world, buried deep within the earth. The people in those poor countries do not know how to mine and refine this wealth of minerals. And so they live in poverty day after day, walking on wealth, literally. God in you makes you rich. No man is poor. I don't care what the cost of living index says. I don't care what the employment figures say. No man is poor. There are no poor people, only people who are not aware of the riches of God within. That is so true. Right now, they want you to be concerned with the economy. They want you concerned with inflation. They want you concerned with a banking collapse, a system collapse. The only system you should be concerned with is your system of how you wake up in the morning and how you talk to yourself. That's the system. Create your system. Create your own economy within your world. And guess what? You'll be in a bubble, in a world of yourself, of wealth and prosperity and true love and health in your life. All of what's happening outside won't touch your door. It won't come to you. It only comes to the people who are signing contracts mentally with these ideas. The current state of mind that you're in right now, in the current physical manifestation that you are seeing right now, is the contract you signed with your mental and your spiritual self-identity. That's what you are having right now. So with that power, knowing that, and if you believe in what I just said, all you have to do is change the ideas in your mind. Change that movie going on that you playing out. Change it. You don't want that job. You don't want to go to work. You don't want to slave for someone else. You can change that. Just change the movie in your mind. But see, the issue is this. Here's where the conflict comes when you're trying to walk away from a job. I need this steady paycheck. I need it. Oh, see, that's a contract. You just signed it. You signed your own contract to stay there. Instead of saying, I don't need this. What I need is to know my own self-power, and I need to make my own money, my unlimited wealth, my unlimited abundance, and run for it. Go for it. Now you have to make a choice on how you're going to do that. I know what happened to me over 7 years ago. I woke up and said, I can't serve two masters. I can't work for this guy and be my own boss at the same time. I got to quit. And I walked away from Time Warner Cable. Was it trying times that I wanted to go back and do it all? Was it a transitional of difficulty? Yes, I received the storms like Peter trying to walk on water. I received that in my mind. Oh, what did I do? I'm not gonna make enough. I gotta go out here and sell. I gotta do this, because I had started my own satellite company, but I stuck with it. And then my true purpose came knocking, and I walked into it. I told that story. I don't have time to tell it again, but let me finish this. Deep within the heart of everyone, God has put the ability to do, and to have the goodness of life, the riches of life, the truth to me, the truth to you, the truth of everyone is that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalms 23:1. This is what the Master Jesus meant when he said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. John 8:32. There are no poor people, only people who are not aware of the riches of God within. I'll say it again. There are no poor people, only people who are not aware of the riches of God within. I don't see poor people. I see homeless people sitting on the corner all the time. I see them sitting at a bus stop. I see them. And what I see is just people who don't recognize their true power of themselves, that they can change their circumstances in an instant. They just change their mind. There's a moment they say they don't want to be on the street and they don't want to live the way they do. Guess what? The God with them will connect with the God outside, and it will make changes for them. But see, the thing is, that happens for everyone. But when it comes, we don't recognize it. It comes in a form that we don't recognize. We don't recognize that this is the opportunity that I was looking at, because it comes by way of a person that talks a lot of trash or has a personality that rubs you the wrong way. Let me explain to you something. How do we get diamonds? It has to be crushed and grinded until we get this diamond. That's what they say. How do you clean anything? You have to scrub it. You got to wipe it down. You got to rub it the wrong way. You got to manipulate it with some elbow grease to clean it up. That is the same with your mind. It has to, in order for drastic change to come, someone drastic has to come into your life. Something drastic has to come into your life to help you make that change. That's why most people become very successful after something drastic happens to them. Some could, what they can define as a catastrophe or a hurtful event. Yeah. So if I have to clean a pot by sitting there scrubbing and scouring and getting that clean after I ate that delicious meal about it, what makes you so different? As above, so below, as inside, so outside. So you got to be cleaned and scrubbed up of all of the negative thinking. You got to receive some words. Like people telling you need to get off that phone watching that nonsense, listening to that rap. Y'all don't want to hear, don't tell me what to do. They're telling you something good. They might have said it in a way you don't even like it. Well, you could have said it better. No, can't. I said it the way it needed to be delivered. I'm sorry. I said, would you tell your child about to stick your hand in an electric socket? Stop it, Johnny. Stop. Don't do that. No, get away from it, and slap his hand away. Because you don't want nothing bad to happen to him. That's what's happening to the people in your house that's loving you and trying to tell you. No, they don't want to hear it that way. But did you save their life? What was the outcome? Because that's one thing you don't want to experience, being shocked by electricity, because there's no coming back from that. You only get one chance with that for the most part. You ain't got time to be, look at this, Johnny, and having a speech about it. You got, Johnny, give me your goddamn hand. What you doing? What you thinking about, boy? Okay. All right, let me keep it moving. When you know the truth that God is in you, when you know that God is in you, you are free. Unfortunately, the fact that God is in man is one of the best kept secrets in the universe. This is why I love to tell people God is in you. Many times when I speak to thousands and I just suggest this, I see that it is just shocks people. Evangelists most of the time say to people, you are full of the devil. When everyone suggests to people that they are full of the devil, they are going to act like the devil. This is why I teach parents, don't say your kids are bad. Whenever I visit a home, the little kids are jumping around. Sometimes parents will say unthinkingly, oh, that child is a bad child. I say, that is an active child. That child is there active and jumping around because he or she is happy and healthy. Be glad that your child is jumping around. Deep within the heart of everyone, God has put the ability to be, to do, and to have the goodness of God, the riches of life. I have always pitied these people praying and fasting, church ladies who are saved and are trying to get their husband saved. They pray and fast and make a request and prayer meeting every night. Pray for my husband to be saved. Then they go straight home and shake their finger in their face and say, you old devil, you. And this is why they don't get rid of the devil. They're always calling the devil. If you notice in my lectures, the devil scarcely gets an honorable mention. Y'all notice how I don't talk about no devil. I said it here. I'm reading this book. Well, I said it the other day referring to something. But churches are full of preachers talking about how, watch out for the devil. The devil is a lie. That's what they do. And as you focus on the devil, you're not focused on the God within you. People have said to me, Reverend, why don't you preach about sin? I'm through with sin. I've had enough of it. The heck with sin. If you concentrate on the devil and all his negative suggestions, you will draw them into your life. And I'm through with negatives. And I'm with him on that. Call forth the God in you. It's like that man at my meeting in Washington. He was an alcoholic and a bum, sleeping in old abandoned cars, raising hell in his home whenever he did go home. He didn't need anybody to tell him that he was a sinner. He knew he was a sinner. He needed someone to pinpoint the good in him, the good in him, the God in him. And when he heard me say that God was in him, and the God in him came forth. Meet people with a blessing. Be careful what you call out of people, because whatever you call out of people, you are going to get it. That is true, yo. That's true. Be careful. Okay? Let us not suggest to ourselves or to anyone else that anything but good is within each person, because here again, what you see is what you get. Look, Wilson, what you see in other people is what you will get out of them. So when you see other people, greet them with the words that will call forth their good. Greet them with the presence of God and the blessings in me. The presence of God in me blesses the presence of God in you. And here's some affirmative things that you can do. Right here and right now, I acknowledge the presence of God in me. I am excited about the presence of God, the presence of unlimited good in me. I am excited about the love of God within me. I am excited about the mind of God within me. God has buried infinite treasures within my being. I now mine, refine, and develop the infinite treasures within me. I see only good. I see only God in myself and in everyone else. Thank you, God in me. And with that being said, that's it. Right on the dot. 7:00, time for me to feed these dogs. And a lovely natural care beauty said, thank you. Have an abundant and prosperous day, everyone. Thank you to you for joining in, and you shall have an abundant and prosperous day on everyone. I call that into existence for you and everyone else. Peace, prosperity, and Extreme wealth to all. Peace.